Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video on my YouTube channel. This week we are looking at the basics of your new Mercedes-Benz. Now, there is lots of technology on all Mercedes-Benz vehicles, and sometimes it can even be a little bit overwhelming and daunting when you're sat in the driver's seat for the first time, especially if you just bought it. So what we're going to do is going to go straight back to basics and show you all the things you need to know before you hit the open road. Right guys, well let's get straight to it. So we'll first of all go through the keys themselves. You'll notice that all Mercedes-Benz keys will have at least 2 to 3 buttons, with the exception of the V-Class and Marco Polo. So you have lock and unlock, and then the third button would be a boot open and close feature if you have that. The fourth buttons on the V-Class and Marco Polo are to open the tailgate and open the sliding door. Now the next bit is to go through the actual car itself. And this is always my favourite bit. So first up guys, the boot. Now in the boot, under the floor, you might find a tyre compressor kit, which looks a bit like one of these. Now don't worry if it's not here. It might mean your Mercedes-Benz has run flats, but most importantly, if you do have this, it's only used for emergencies to inflate your tyres. Now one thing I should also add guys as well, is that all Mercedes-Benz have breakdown cover. Now this breakdown cover applies to all Mercedes-Benz vehicles after 24th of October 1998. So as long as your Mercedes-Benz was registered after that point, you are entitled to 30 years breakdown cover for free, but there is one requirement. And that one requirement is basically, as long as the car's service is done each year or every 15,000 miles at a Mercedes-Benz dealership. So say my car was due for a service next year in June, as long as it's serviced at a main Mercedes-Benz dealership, you get free breakdown cover. And it's not just to the UK, it's to the whole of Europe as well. So that is quite cool. Now to use this breakdown cover, there's actually a button on the inside on most Mercedes-Benz to activate it. You quite simply press the button and it will make a phone call to the Mercedes-Benz roadside assistance team and they'll be able to come out and help you. Now don't worry if you don't have that button, all Mercedes-Benz also have this little sticker just here with a Europe-wide number and a UK number as well. Of course, as I said, it's completely free of charge. The one requirement, it just needs to be serviced by a main Mercedes-Benz dealership each year. So a little fun fact there. Next up, we've got the fuel filler cap. Now on most Mercedes-Benz, it is on the right-hand side of the car. There are a few compact cars such as the A-Class, CLA, GLA and GLB, which is actually on the left, but the rest of them should be on the right. Quite simply, push here with the car unlocked and it will open first time. Now this blue thing here is AdBlue. What AdBlue does is actually help keep the emissions down by injecting very small amounts into the exhaust system, which basically helps eliminate nitrous oxide from the exhaust. So all in all, it keeps the emissions down low. You'll also find here as well the tyre pressures, which are on the fuel filler cap. This will show you what they are for the front and rear, just in case they're slightly different. Now just reference guys, if you wanted to look under the bonnet of your new Mercedes, you'll need the bonnet release catch. And that bonnet release catch is primarily on the driver's side. Just one model comes to mind, which is the V-Class and Marco Polo. Those are on the left. Most of the others will be on the right-hand side, on the driver's side. Now of course this is one of Mercedes-Benz's engines, however there isn't really much to see or do under here to be honest. Most of it's very tightly compact, so only technicians will really need to access anything in here. If you notice, there's not even an oil dipstick because the dipstick is done digitally using the screen. Of course there are sensors for checking the quality of the oil all the time. But the only thing you're going here for really is the windscreen washer fluid top up, and that is usually a blue cap located in this particular car on the right hand side. Now moving on to the inside of your new Mercedes-Benz, the first thing you'll need to do is obviously set up the seat, steering wheel and the mirrors. So some Mercedes-Benz seats controls are located down on the front left down here and here. However, if you're lucky enough to have the memory package, you'll find it on the actual door itself. There'll be like a picture of a seat where you can move everything electronically. In this particular one, I have a lever under here and I just need to move this to the right positions. And then we have these controls down here. Now, some cars will allow you to move this bit up and down like this. Then you can also raise or lower the whole seat and then obviously tilt forwards and backwards as well. Once you're in the right position, you might need to adjust the steering wheel. Now for me, because I'm quite tall, the issue is when my foot touches the brake pedal, you'll notice that my knee hits the steering wheel here, which wouldn't be very good. It will be catching my knee here when I'm steering. So what you can do, again, if you have the manual adjustments, there's a lever just underneath which allows you to move this up and down and in and out as well. So now look, my knee's nice and clear, I'm not going to touch it anymore. If you have the memory package, then the steering wheel will be adjusted via a little lever just on the left hand side of the steering wheel, and you can move this up and down all electronically. Obviously don't forget your mirrors as well. You've got the left and right mirrors controlled on the door, and then of course you've got the centre mirror. This one's just a normal grab and move it to the right place. Now after you've got your seat all set up, the next thing you'll want to do is probably run through the screens. Now there are several systems in Mercedes-Benz vehicles, so it's a little bit tricky to cover them all in one video. However, I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Usually somewhere in this area you will have a wheel or a touchpad to control the screen, but you'll also have some buttons as well that will be labelled Navi, Radio, Media, Telephone, and usually a picture of a car as well for settings. You press any one of these and that will control this screen. Along with the touchpads and the wheel, usually in this area, you'll be able to control the screen as well. So if you have the wheel, you can spin the wheel around left and right like this to put on the radio stations. You'll also have a back button here as well, and usually a home button too. Pressing the home button will actually just bring up everything I just mentioned, from the Navi, the radio, the media and the telephone. Now I did mention there are different systems in Mercedes. I have already done a video on MBUX, so if you wanted to have a look at that, click on the pop-out banner on top and we'll take you straight to that to run through exactly what that's all about. So controlling the screen, we have a touchpad and a wheel in this particular car. So you can obviously spin the wheel around, but don't forget as well, you can also grab hold of the wheel and kind of rock it to the left and even rock it to the right and up and down as well as spinning, and you can click it in as well. It's like a multifunctional joystick on a wheel. If you prefer, you can use the touchpad. It does exactly the same thing, it's just laid out slightly differently. Me personally, I prefer to rest my hand on the touchpad to use the wheel like this. Now of course, if you want to make and receive calls in the car, you'll need to connect your phone via Bluetooth to the car. There is a video on the pop-out banner on how to do that. It's very easy, it will take you a couple of minutes to do. And also likewise, if you have Apple CarPlay and you want Apple CarPlay to run in the car, my most recent video just last week, I did a full in-depth guide on Apple CarPlay in Mercedes-Benz cars. Click on the pop-out banner up there to run through that particular one. Now of course, the climate control on Mercedes-Benz cars is located in this area just here. It's the silver strip just along here in this car, but there are some other cars where it's actually located on the bottom with two dials. Most of the time it's a climate control with temperatures either side, so either passenger can choose their preferred temperature, but just in case it's not, it will still have air conditioning so you can keep cool in the summer and warm in the winter. The final thing on today's video is driving your Mercedes-Benz. So if you have a manual, you'll have a gear stick in the middle with 1 to 6 gears primarily. But if you have an automatic, you'll notice that there's actually nothing there. The gear stick is actually located on the top just here. And it quite simply will work when your foot's on the brake pedal and you move this up for reverse, down for drive, and the button on the end is for park. On all new Mercedes-Benz, when you press the button on the end, it will actually put the handbrake on for you as well. Now, just in case you have a manual Don't forget that handbrake. Because it is a manual, you will need to use the handbrake, which is just located in this area here. It's a pull to release, push to park. And there we have it, guys. That concludes this week's video on basics on your Mercedes-Benz. Now, if you liked what you saw, do hit that like button down below. And of course, there is that subscribe button if you would like to see any future videos I upload. I'm aiming at the moment to do a weekly video uploading at 4 o'clock every Friday. I will try my best to keep to that schedule. Obviously, it was a very short one this week, but there again, it's quite important for people who have never had a Mercedes before. So I hope you liked what you saw. Until next time, we'll see you then.